from the Coachella Valley, sunny skies, high 71. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We appreciate each and every one of you on this beautiful day here in LA, and a lot of things going on around the world. So much so I know a lot of people are watching what is going to happen next with, of course, Ukraine and Russia and the rest of the world. Seeing some latest news headlines, a lot of them very, I don't know how to put it, except it's a situation which I feel a lot of people, a good portion, know what's happening. And then there's a whole other world that doesn't know what's happening. And it's sad, but it's called controlled media. And a lot of people don't understand that's exactly what some nations do. And it's interesting because it's a sad situation. And Jesse's over there in the room right now, looking at some of the news of the sad situation. What's going on, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm just looking at what's happening in the Ukraine and stuff, and I'm just wondering how long before the world is all like, we're sending aid and all this stuff, but eventually, let's get real. We're gonna eventually have to step in, right?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think people think we're already stepped in. The way the address has been and how Biden keeps saying we stand with the people of Ukraine, but I will say in a positive portion of that, some of the vehicles drove in from Poland over to the Ukrainian border, and a lot of the people of Poland were taking pictures with the army soldiers. It's a little late, not going to lie, but it is what it is. Mark says, controlled media. We have uncontrolled media here. Well, let me preface it by saying this. There is not a precedent here that has happened where the media journalists will be locked up for reporting the news. Right, Jesse? I mean, we don't have that problem. You said it, like, I think last week early, maybe the week before. You said in some instances, we're able to say so many things here, but there's some parts of the world where if you do that, you get either jail time or you get put away, right?
Right. I mean, just think, like, if we bash the government itself, I mean, like, we could probably be locked up in some countries.
Yeah, uncontrolled media is better than no media. Or very controlled media. And what I mean by that is if you do the research, as of last week, at the end part of the week, it started, I think, midweek, Russia put a very big clampdown. So much so, a lot of the Russian news stations said, we have to stop reporting. Because if they slant anything, I'm not going to say slant, even if they report the news around the world, especially with what's happening in Ukraine, Russia says, well, we don't agree with that, so you cannot do that. So they'll get prison time up to 15 years for reporting. So ABC News, CNN, NBC News, Bloomberg, and all journalists that report usually from Russia are basically going to have to flee from there so that they don't get locked up, so that they can come back home safely. All right. These are a lot of American citizens, by the way. And just for reporting the news, you get jail time. Okay. Now, I know it seems like, it's not a really big thing to the majority of people that are not journalists and or reporters in front of a video camera. But if you're in Russia and you get prison time for that, Jesse, would you want to go to prison just for, talking about what we talk about here on the show?
Oh, God, no. No, 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 no. No. If I was in one of those countries, I probably would not be doing this. No way. No way.
Yeah, that's called, we would just say, I want to stay safe. This is not worth my life. And I'm good just saying that. But the reality is a lot of people in Russia are understanding they're actually, in some cases, they actually interviewed some people. And this was as of last week. And again, it's very independent. You know how like Leno would kind of go and say certain questions to certain people like are unaware that things are happening around the world, or there's like, he'd ask some fun questions called Man on the Street. some reporters did that, and they asked some people in like marketplaces and other places. They all know they have no money, right? They go to the ATM, they have no money. But some of the elderly generation, which obviously were not on social media, he would ask, do you know that there's a war in Ukraine? And the lady says, there's no war in Ukraine. This is just a few days ago, by the way. Yeah, I know. You go, huh? So the state media television programs are very much controlled. And to our social media tune in of Mark saying what you said, I know you said it in generality. We appreciate your viewpoint. But again, even you or anyone who has the ability to say anything about any news, that's a whole other thing when you're not able to report anything opposite of what you see. Does that make sense? Like, let's say we live here, yeah, Jesse, and we don't like Biden, right? We talk about Trump all the time, right? Well, that's our right?
Yes.
But
okay.
if the Biden administration said, how dare you talk about Trump, supporting him against me, you're going to get locked up, would that be wrong?
Yeah, because I want to make fun of both of them equally.
But that's my point. We're allowed that here in the States. Thank goodness, right? But if it became the Russia of today, we would be locked up for that. Do you understand? And that is what the people of Russia, journalists who are reporting anything that, is news, which is, obvious stuff, but it just is it's the sort of thing that will happen in a time of war, right? The people of Russia, the younger ones, the youthful generation that are on social media, that see all the video and all the obvious of what's happening, they know what's going on, but even they will not be able to understand because, of course, just like China, they block everything from knowing anything when it comes to social media. So that's happening as well. Facebook's already kind of, there's a clampdown that Russia's doing because they don't want that information out there. And that could be just somebody sharing it from their video camera, right? Which has been happening a lot. I'm going to show some images. I'm not going to lie. Some of the images, and if you're tuning in on the radio, Jesse, I'll kind of let you describe what it is that you're seeing here next. But a lot of these images are very extreme, but they are where we're at in this situation, okay? And this is very serious. The bombs are going off left and right. And this is the situation in Ukraine, okay? This is what Russia doesn't want anybody to see. This is the reality. And I understand there's already certain news reports and propaganda out there about, Russia basically was surrounded by NATO and they had no choice to do this. I say you do have a choice to not invade innocent people. And what you're about to see here is people trying to escape their homes, escaping everything that they have, and still being bombed left, right, and center. These are civilians. These are not war people. Now, you're going to notice this individual. He walks to the right, notice the street. What happens all of a sudden? Here it is. Explosion. On the top right, what you could see are people literally fleeing with their suitcases. But next thing that you see is unfortunately them dead. There's a cat carrier or a dog carrier. They're gone. Just for fleeing. They don't have vehicles. This man helping an old elderly lady walk, probably hurt, stumbling, just to escape the area. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm very much against Russia saying, oh, there's a ceasefire. We're going to let you people evacuate. And yet there is no ceasefire. I don't know who is not communicating with who. When you have young children that you're trying to take out of the way or take out of harm's way, this is a problem. And I guarantee you these numbers are way down. These are confirmed deaths as of right now. But I guarantee you those numbers are way higher than that. When everybody finally gets to see, they're going to see that the numbers add up into the probably thousands. And eventually, if this continues with as big of the bombs that they're doing, hundreds of thousands. Many people are staying behind just to try to fight. Many men are staying behind just to try to fight, and they're sending their wives and their children off into where they can, Poland and or surrounding areas. So if you get a call from somebody saying, hey, I need to stay with you guys, is that okay? I say yes. I know a lot of people who have extended family members and other family members. There are so many that are going from one area of Ukraine to a safe area. I don't know how I don't know how Poland's going to do it in the next few weeks, because there's going to be so many people without money, not able, to find work, not able to pay for themselves, not able to do anything. The people of Poland need to get help from other countries. That's the reality. That's what we're finding. And there are people that are hurting. According to the Polish Border Guard, more than 1 million people have escaped to Poland since February 24. And I guarantee you there's more. There are so many kids that are having a problem right now in the area that need food to eat. There's a problem with this. All right? There's a problem. Now, Rosalie says, I agree, Facebook won't let me speak my mind. They're always putting me in Facebook jail, calling me violent and a bully. Yeah, and I don't know what she posted. I don't know what you posted, Rosalie, but I've been in Facebook jail just for liking too many posts, and it was when they actually posted on my Facebook for, I think, like, happy birthday. And I replied to a bunch of them, and I said, thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate that. And then I was, like, banned for, like, a month. I was like, okay, Facebook, you don't know what you're doing. This is why I don't like to pay through Facebook. They have no support there. They said they have the little pay icon. I'm like, I'm not linking that. I don't mind getting paid from Facebook. We get paid from Facebook sometimes, especially when you guys donate. We appreciate that. But at the same time, Russia is, in essence, saying, look, only you can report what we want you to report. That way, only you know our truth. So in other words, like in about, I don't know, anywhere from a month to like 8 months, when somebody gets a call from a person outside of Russia, they're going to get the news of, it's not like that. Did you not get that info? They didn't get that. Okay. If you have friends in Russia, and I know a lot of people travel to Russia. I know friends that have gone to that area. The world knows, but Russia doesn't know. That's the problem with state-controlled media, which is a good thing that we have all sorts of media. You have Fox, you got ABC, you got NBC, you got CNN, you got independent reporters, you got all sorts out there. That's why I say appreciate it while you have it. When you have only a one portion of the truth and not an against portion of the truth, then you have a problem. That's called information, which isn't right? So, I mean, how many times have we heard even, and people may not like to hear it, but in the Vietnam War, there were a lot of things that even the U.S. did, right? Agent Orange and other things. There's some bad history there, but at least we know the multiple sides, not just one side. And that's the people of Russia. So you're going to start seeing, I've already seen from, I think, Al Jazeera and a couple other news agencies say, well, yeah, it's bad, but do you know Russia's point of view? And I go, I really don't care Russia's point of view right now. They're killing innocent people. All right? I understand military going against military. I get that. I have yet to see real bona fide Ukrainian military not getting from the people or grandma to have to pick up arms because they just are not prepared for an invasion. And that's sad. Who was supposed to protect them? I think they thought they were protected. I don't know. But they're getting old junk sent to them. They're getting old helicopters. They're getting old tanks. Even NATO. I will call out NATO on this one. NATO said that they would send some older military equipment. And I think ABC reported, they said, because they used a quote. And I'm like, yeah, that's your problem. You're going at it like in a little way when you're dealing with a world power of Russia. Russia is huge. That's why I say that people don't stand a chance until you have official military men and women that know military everything. Okay? Russia's prepared. Ukraine is not. That's where I think we're at right now. And then, oh yeah, by the way, the nuclear power plants. Did you hear about that, Jesse?
Maybe you're talking about the one that was under attack.
Yeah, well, we know they already took over Chernobyl. which is
Okay.
already is a problem. Then they started attacking the other power plant, which, according to a lot of resources, are saying they have control of that. But why do you bomb a power plant? That's terrible.
Yeah, that makes that. God, that's a lot of things can be done. So much frustration right now. It's all like that's one of the worst places you can start like a firefight. I mean, at least go in there with just military people, not tanks and missiles and all this stuff that explode. I mean, it's a power plant, not a freaking military base. So I don't know. It's just whoever's in charge, get better. That's all I gotta say. Get better.
Yeah, and that's my thing. And I say, whatever side you're going to be on in the next few months, just remember this, okay? As you see all this news media get slanted in a direction of, well, it's NATO's fault and this and this and that. Okay, people on the ground, as you just saw, that's why I wanted to show people the visuals, okay? Sometimes visuals take longer. And for those on the radio listening, when you see innocent people and you put yourself in that place where you didn't have a vehicle to drive because there's no way to get more gas because it takes like an hour and a half to get gasoline just to get out of the area. When you realize you have your luggage and that's your only belongings, you have to leave your whole life in your home, in your apartment, in your place, because you want to save your family and or your kids and or your young ones, and you're getting bombed behind you, I don't know what part of the world anyone lives in, but if your heart does not say this is wrong, then you really need to check it. Because if you start taking sides on this, like Russia people will, that do not understand what's happening in the world, like the lady who said, I don't know about Ukraine being at war. Russia wouldn't do that. She's very pro-Russia. Some people could be pro-USA. But if USA did this and you didn't get that information or you weren't able to see that information, and sometimes the information isn't out there because there is certain journalists that just don't cover it on certain stations. But we're controlled now not by the media, but by what we know to be truth. That's why I love social media. I love that our show's on social media. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. We could tap into the rest of the world. We've had India tune in. We've had people in certain states tune in. We don't have anybody tune in from North Korea, obviously, because that's controlled. Russia's getting to North Korea status. China is almost close to North Korea status. That's why Oculus is banned there. That's why Facebook is not really a thing there. Did you know that, Jesse?
Really? Are you serious? The Oculus is banned there?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, certain ones were getting it because they know how to funnel in the internet. Those are the smart youth of today. The elderly generation, unless you're shown that, you don't know how to do that. I know I found that out late last year when Oculus was like being sold left to right. They were sold out. But that's my point. All right, people. So we got more to share. And to the nations of the world and to us here on the home front, I say, what is going on with our climate situation? We need to be focusing on that. That's world stuff, not territory and or land. I mean, we still got coronavirus, we're crying out loud. So we're going to cover that next here on the show. Stay tuned to more. We'll be right back right after these messages. And keep the comments coming.
Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
For all you truck and RV enthusiasts, TruckWorks right here in Banning is your one-stop shop for the best diesel performance and overall truck and RV needs. Whether you're towing, racing, off-road, or just cruising around town, TruckWorks specializes in truck and RV service, maintenance, repair, and performance upgrades for every light and medium-duty truck manufacturer. Bring it down to Terry and the guys at TruckWorks. Call 951-922-4776 or visit their website at mydieseldown.com today.
Are you paying rent because you think you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you renting because you don't believe that you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? The Siegel lending team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel lending team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com, license under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny and Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the number one choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny and Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennyandassociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
The Holiday Inn Express is distinctively suited for your travel time out of the car. Off the road, you'll find a courteous, welcoming staff and spacious rooms with desks, flat-screen HD TVs, and comfortable furnishings. Enjoy the complimentary breakfast buffet, high-speed internet, and fitness center and pool. The Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Banning, conveniently located off the I-10 near golf, gaming, and entertainment. For reservations and information, call 951-572-5500. That's 951-572-5500, or go online at hiebanning.com.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We appreciate each and every one of you spending time with us. We appreciate those on social media as well. And I've said this before. I said, always pay attention, especially to certain areas around the world when it comes to the shift of the weather. And Jesse, I've had this conversation with you a couple times, and I said, I don't think people understand what's happening around the world in the last few months, especially because of the volcano situation. I think there's 53 volcanoes now active. That's creating a huge problem for our world. A lot of people are not paying attention to that. It's sad. You can't even make this stuff up because there are bona fide real volcanoes happening. And I know people know of La Palma as a big thing because we talked about La Palma, but ever since then, it's like one volcano after another, right? We remember Tonga. That one was really big, and that one was caught on satellite, thank goodness. But the amount of ash that it's been spewing since then, it's combined with 50 some other volcanoes. That's a problem for our environment. So we have unusual weather in areas which a lot of what do they call them? Climologists actually have been seeing disasters kind of go from big to great all of a sudden. And to give you some perspective of this, I want to show you some of the info here and I love this channel. This channel is really good. I subscribe to them on YouTube. All right, so I'm just going to show some of their video here on this, and it's all about the change of climate. All right, the station's called Climate Change, and as you'll see, Jesse, you'll see some things here on the video feed that are very telling. Okay, and this is from March 2nd. to now. Heavy rains have caused flash floods in Sao Paulo state. All right, and so much so that places are being buried with water. There are blizzards in central Italy. Now, just to remind you, it's March, okay? Blizzards. That's like December weather. Water spout in Palermo. This is in Italy, okay? This is a very common thing in certain areas now where it wasn't before. Heavy rains in Paraguay. But when I say heavy rains, I mean flooding in massive proportions all of a sudden. Sometimes vehicles and buses get underwater. Imagine being in a bus, Jesse, thinking you're safe, and in the bus, you're being towed away by the heavy rains. This is the March 3rd situation around the world. Australia flooding in just 4 hours in New South Wales. That is a lot of rain all of a sudden. Here's a landslide in India. Imagine being on that and just the road giving way. There is no way I would drive in that. In fact, if I were that person taking the video, I would move. Fires are happening all over. This is one in India, threatening houses in Calabria. Then you've got extreme weather here in Mexico, a seismic warning siren in Mexico City with a 6.2 earthquake. And 6.2 is already huge. You have Mexico City, you have the buildings of pretty much 80 years ago. There's going to be problems with those. Tornadoes in Paraguay. And some of these are like Oklahoma-ish, right? Like a 3 or a 4. I think we need a new tornado system of 8 or 12 or 14. Here's a sandstorm in Saudi Arabia, the Jordan. And you can't see past your hand. That's bad. Snowfalls and thunderstorms in Turkey, again, in March. It should be spring-ish. Wiring's not able to withstand. Cars getting stuck, kind of like on the East Coast. It's extreme weather. Again, this is November, December weather. This isn't March weather. It should start to be melting. This is in Chile, another forest fire. And I don't know what's going on with so many forest fires happening all around the world, but they're all happening massively. 350 shrubs and eucalyptus forests have been destroyed in Chile. Again, more toxic air spewed into our air. This is a situation with a helicopter getting some water from a pool just to dump some. I don't know how desperate they are with that. This is March 4th, Australia. Late February, heavy rains have caused major flooding in eastern Australia. Tens of thousands of people are suffering there. And you see it's all the way up to the roof, just shy of the attic. In India, here's another landslide. Karnataka, according to reports, more than 5 workers are trapped. This is in an area where obviously they're excavating and they're working. But look at that, Jesse. That's huge. All of a sudden, just mountains coming down. Here's strong currents in the area of Indonesia. Again, areas where you do not want to be found trapped, and you definitely don't want to go anywhere near it. Here's an area in Iraq, a sandstorm. Again, people are just walking about. When a sandstorm comes in like this, it is bad for the eyes. It's also bad for the skin, technically, because it's little petals of stuff coming at you. In Colombia, flooding due to heavy rains in the villages of La Corona and Villahermosa. 55 families are affected. I would say, again, more than that. Those are just reported ones. In disasters like this, usually there's way much more, kind of like Katrina. But Katrina is happening everywhere around the world. Here in the U.S., there have been fires in Southern California. That hit the news here as well. Again, is it fire weather? I would say no. We're not there yet. That's the June, July, August situation usually. But we've had some major wildfires here in the U.S. as of the last couple of months. And Saudi Arabia, a terrible accident on our desert road due to dust storms. Again, dust storms are taking off and causing a lot of damage with vehicles that are trying to drive, but when it comes in, you cannot see anything. Here's a pile of about 8 cars. France, a storm's raging off the coast of France. And when you have water come in like that, you get swept out to sea. You don't want to be around there, right? You don't want to be just by yourself. Here's South Korea on the coast of the Sea of Japan. And it's an endangering another power plant. Oh, great, Jesse. Power plants are getting in danger left, right, and center. What's going on? So hopefully nothing bad happens there. And here's the situation as of March 5th. A severe storm in Argentina. Due to heavy rain, the streets are flooded and cars are stuck. Okay, again, our world is suffering, and we have to pay attention to these things that are happening. These are from just normal, regular people taking pictures. Here's Brazil, flooding in the streets, trees having damage and being knocked down. It's terrible. Our earth is suffering, and it's extreme weather. Haiti, flooding in Haiti. Weather is so extreme, even climatologists are going, what's going on? But I would say if you look at the science of how much is being spewed into the Earth's atmosphere, Here's Italy, for example, volcano activity in 4 fans of the Stromboli volcano. You'll see that. That's in Italy, okay? I mean, it looks like a fireworks show. Yay, it's beautiful. But these things are erupting left and right. What's going on with the magma underneath? Jesse and I were talking about the movie Core. What's going on with that? Again, Mexico being affected. Baja California Sur wildfire in the community of Santiago and Los Cabos. 40 affected homes, probably more. Saudi Arabia, again, another sandstorm sweeping the capital of Saudi Arabia, shrouding the city in a huge fog of just sand. All right. We've seen extreme weather here from time to time. It's not as extreme as we know it, but in other areas it is. So my point is this. Why is Russia, the States, Australia, Korea, China, Africa not all paying attention to the obvious? We need to pay attention to the people of this earth. We need to pay attention to the climate shift that's happening. The climate shift is extreme weather, not on the warm side so much, but on the cold side. We see it here in the States. But again, we're March. It's March 7th. This is a time where usually it levels off around the world, right? We're in the northern hemisphere of the world, but it's starting to act like the winter weather that we honestly should not be having in March. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And are people paying attention to it? No. So having said that, what's going on there, Jesse?
No, you're right. In my opinion, just like the world feels like it's just resetting itself, trying to correct a bunch of instances that are just trying to get better.
Yeah.
I always see the planet as like a giant living organism, and we're just like little insects on it. Obviously, we're doing a lot to it, so it's trying to just like recover.
Yeah, and I would say this. Back to the volcanoes. That's not our fault. Right? Unless you had the ability to upset the magma and the Earth's crust, that's not our fault, okay? We've already spewed enough carbon into the air, but the amount of carbon that's been distributed into the air from just 8 volcanoes is already bad enough to create a huge shift of cold. That's what's coming next. That leads to food shortages. That leads to problems in our agriculture. That leads to situations with our fruit supply. Our vegetable supply, not so much. You could counter that. You could bring them indoors. I've been looking at some very interesting news reports of certain technologies which actually bring food distribution and food centers on the inside of warehouses. And I'm like, oh, that's smart. Because then you don't have to be, out there like our trees that are outside, right? Bring those all indoors, right? Which have oranges and or other types of fruit that basically are being destroyed by this type of weather. You can't use it after a while, right? Or harvest it in such a way that you can, make frozen fruit. You know what I mean? Make frozen fruit for drinks, because that's pretty much what's happening. Don't throw it away, right? So that's where we're at right now. All right, people. So I just want to share that bit of information going into the week. That's called perspective of the world and where we're at. Not to say, hey, it's not worth living, all this stuff's being thrown at us, but it's saying pay attention, all right? If you are a world government, pay attention to the science of where the world is going, okay? These people are fighting in the cold of winter. Again, it's March, okay? Russia's used to that. Ukraine's used to that. But even the people of fighters from Russia are like, can we get some warm blankets? Can we get some warm heaters? Can we get something to help us out before we take other people out? Which, oh, yeah, that's right. They are our neighbors. They're innocents. They're not holding guns. They're innocents. At the end of the day, Russia's taking out innocents. If you just leave it like that and you forget the political he said, she said, they said, what said, that's what's happening. If Russia was really upset about NATO right now, they would attack NATO, not their border country, Ukraine, including Belarus, who obviously wants them for themselves as well. They just want oil. There is so much oil in those hills of Ukraine. That's what they want to kind of get more of. Period. End of story. That's what will probably happen in the next few weeks when you see what is so profitable about Ukraine. The people are innocent. It's the others who just want more profit. Period. End of story. It's always a profit grab because it's an expensive war. You have to pay for a military. You have to pay for people. You got to pay for tanks. You got to pay for artillery. You got to finance it somehow. And there you go. Nobody's saying it, but it'll be said in the next few weeks, guaranteed. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Your pharmacy and mobility solutions is now Beaumont Pharmacy with a new location at the Sundance Corporate Center. That's at the corner of Highland Springs and 8th in Suite 110. Of course, they still have Pack Your Meds. No more counting out the pills, dropping them on the floor. Oh, what a mess. And they have a full selection of pharmaceutical CBD. Wheelchairs, over-the-counter meds, you name it, they've got it. So if you're looking for the best and you want the best pharmacy, you go to Beaumont Pharmacy at their new location, 835 North Highland Springs, Beaumont Avenue in Beaumont, California, Suite 110. Give them a call, 951-845-8252.
Have you ever wished you could just wake up one day, reach across your nightstand, and hit the life reset button? Let's face it, the struggles and frustrations of everyday life leave millions of women and men around the globe yearning for a new way. And the new way is right here in Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want by Dr. Fujan Zain. You can get it now at fujan.com or amazon.com. Life Reset, the awareness integration path to create the life you want. You deserve it.
Standard Time is here. That means shorter days and cooler nights that make you want to stay inside. Don't get caught in the cold. Franklin Mechanical Systems can do a preventative maintenance check on your heating unit. Get it working right. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems, for all your residential and commercial heating and air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000, and stay warm today.
Join Yvette Walker every Tuesday at 4 o'clock p.m. on KMET ABC News Radio, 1490 AM, FM 98.1, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show is dedicated to highlighting successful businesses and the individuals behind them. Yvette interviews the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 o'clock p.m. Express Frame thanks our troops and veterans for everything they've done so fearlessly for us on a daily basis. Send letters or care packages and give blood. Also offer a veteran a job or discount on your local product. It'll be greatly appreciated. That's from Sue and Alex of Express Frame, your complete framing experts with a reputation that precedes them. For more information, call 760-773-9228. Veteran discounts available. That's Express Frame in Palm Desert. The area's best for your framing needs. And they're waving their flags high, saying USA all the way.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We're checking out the social media chat room. I want to say a big shout out to those tuning in. Stephanie Reed over there who's saying it's a gloomy, chilly area there, but an awesome day ahead for today. She's very, very positive, as she always is. She always brings the positive to our show and our chat room. We appreciate you. Mark Blevins over there. Good morning. Good to see you over there. Rosalie as well says, good morning, beautiful people. And let's see. And then there is Trinita Dorsey who says, this world is on its way out. Pay attention to those Bible prophecies, people. Yeah, you know, I will say this. And my mom and I have this discussion a lot. And I say, look, at no time have we had everything hit the fan as we have in this last 3 years, right? We got 20, we had 21, and then we have here 22. I think people thought positivity would happen in 22, and then the war erupted, right? Which, oddly enough, for conspiracy theorists everywhere and around, the last time the Spanish pandemic flew, there was another war as well, World War I. Isn't it weird how, like, you give 100 years and we're right back to square one, but yet the war tanks and the war everything can cause more damage than ever before?
Oh, most definitely. Like, I was shocked. I'd be like, wow, almost 100 years later, and we're doing the exact same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. Oh, my Lord. Mm-hmm. Do people not read history books?
We don't learn.
Obviously not, because they rewrite them. But, yeah, no, it feels like... it feels like everything's just going crazy.
Yeah, well, and back to the statement by Trinita. Look, whether you like it or hate it, whether you believe or you don't believe, whether you're atheist or a believer, things have gone from bad to worse. Critical times hard to deal with are here. Period, end of story. And in some areas, in some neighborhoods, not so much. But even then, the type of crimes that have been happening in our own local area, Jesse, I don't know if you've seen it in Riverside and or San Bernardino, but in LA, it has gone from bad to worse overnight in just the last few months.
Oh no, I believe you. I stay away from the LA area.
Yeah.
I remember somebody was telling me, "Oh, LA, California's just been getting better and better." I don't think so. I mean,
that's a realtor.
Pretty much. I've lived here my whole life. Okay. All I see are things degrading.
Yeah.
Except for they're putting flashy lights on it and making it seem new and spectacular.
Yeah.
But no. I could literally, I remember walking the streets at night and not having to worry about getting kidnapped or shot or robbed or whatever.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it feels like I'm going out. It's just like I better be strapped for the purge or something.
Yeah. If I had a kid myself right now, I would not let my kid roll outside right now. There are people following other people to their home. I saw a mother on a, thank God she had a Ring. I think everybody should have a Ring, seriously. Which has a video camera around the outside, determines motion, where the guy followed her and her daughter, which I think she takes inside, and he follows her to the door, and then he tries the door to see if it's open, then he knocks. He's all tatted up. You could tell he has no good intentions at night, and thank God she has the video to prove it, right? I don't know if they locked up that guy. I know they were on the lookout for that, but that's happening more and more, so I say watch your back. Watch your family's back, okay? Don't be caught unaware. Yeah. All right. This is news. We hit this 6 million mark for the pandemic. I'm sorry, Jesse. You thought it was 6 million for something else, didn't you?
I really thought it was something good, and then I was like, 6 million. I was like, all right, we're doing something good. And then you said, cut. I was like, oh, man.
I'm sorry for those listening. You did not see Jesse. It's like, yay, 6 million. This sounds like good news. And I'm like, sorry, I didn't tell him what I'm going to say. Yeah, that's a headline. The official global death toll from COVID eclipsed 6 million. I know here in the home front, we're about a sixth of that because we're coming to the million mark here in the U.S. We make up 1/6 of the deaths of coronavirus. Isn't that odd to say, Jesse?
It is just a bit. Like,
yeah.
Death. I mean, I think people will start freaking out more if we start just leaving them out in the streets and then they can see for themselves.
Yeah. And we are entering the third year of it, the beginning of it. We've already had 2 full years of this, right? So that's the milestone recorded by Johns Hopkins University is the latest tragic reminder of the nature of the pandemic, even as people are shedding masks. Travel's resuming, businesses are reopening. This is the part I always say, people, it's only going to speed up. This is with us slowing it down with each other, having certain mask requirements, right? I've always been against mandating of getting really upset. I think it should be an option because at the rate that we're going, people are like, I'm like, I don't know. I want to stay alive. I'm going to wear a face mask. I do not care, right? But I feel like the odd man out sometimes when I'm the only one wearing the face mask. But I'm like, you know what? Better to be alive than to be in the hospital. I don't got money for that, man. I don't have money to pay for that, okay? If you do, yay! You take some time off there. I don't want that. Remote Pacific Islands, whose isolation had protected them for more than 2 years, are now grappling with their first outbreaks and deaths fueled by the highly contagious variant. All right. I saw a report, and I thought it was the dumbest thing since sliced bread, where there was an actual study, some of you may have seen it already, and it said that in children that got the vaccine, 5 to 12, the variant caused them more suffering because they were not ready for it with the vaccine. But here's my question of the day. What did you expect? There is no vaccine against just yet. That's coming out in about a month from Pfizer. We don't have anything ready for That's a variant we haven't been ready for. Then you have OM2, OM3, OM4. I know people are going to get the new, what I call spring edition of the next vaccine, but the spring edition is not going to be a good thing for OM3 and 4 guaranteed. OM2, probably not as much. It may give you something, but it won't get you everything because those are new variants that haven't been studied by Pfizer. You have to have a variant out in order to study it and then create a vaccine against it. They're completely different. The one that we got was good for Delta, Lambda, and Mu, I think. I'm not sure on that. But at the end of it all, the next one will be ready for all of those, except for, I think, 3 and 4. 2, again, I'm not sure either. I would almost say 2, but I would wait for that information. Maybe they're including it in the next batch. I do not know. But we're not there yet. So the study, which was done in December, was the dumbest study ever. It's like, who made that study happen? Because there's no vaccine that helps with them. Of course the chances are going to be so low. But the way they spun it was that the vaccine just doesn't work for kids 5 to 12. I'm like, no, it didn't work for anybody that got at any level. That's your problem. So whoever did that story is the dumbest person since sliced bread. And I will say that. I will go on record with that. Because as people will understand with their thinking mind, there is no vaccine against yet. It will come out in the next few weeks. Whoever thought it did got misinformation. So that study's dumb. Disregard it. You understand my frustration here?
So are you telling me the vaccine I get doesn't make me immune?
Not against every variant, no. And it only works for how many months at a time?
I think it was, 4?
4 to 6, yeah. If you got it last spring and you didn't get the other, what I'll call fall edition, it's out of your system, man. You got to get the more recent one. That's what people don't understand. We've been saying it here on the show, but it's like some people just don't get that information because some of the news media outlets are dumb, man. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, but there you go. Let's see. Algenia, Kirsten in Atlanta. Paul, big thank you to the big thumbs up. Algenia says, I was caught in a sandstorm a few years back in Arizona. Almost took my breath away. The sand can cause you not to breathe or get oxygen. In the future, grow your own indoor garden at home. I do agree with that. There are ways to grow it on the inside and actually use ultraviolet light to help grow it. You don't need sunlight anymore. You just need a lot of ultraviolet light. And with ultraviolet light being so cheap and inexpensive, I'd say start getting it, right?
Heck yeah. I would love to make an indoor garden or just utilize the front yard and make a giant garden.
I've seen some people do that and make money at it. Jesse?
Are we allowed to do that? Because I remember... Yeah. Okay, because it depends on the location, right?
Well, it's vegetables. And or fruit. So you can, I think there's a protocol, but I saw one person which did it from his own, like herbs. He grew herbs. And he has a really good garden. His YouTube is up there. I got to bring it up. But I think he nets I want to say $4,000 a month. He spends, time planting it, gardening it, and then pulling from it. And then he just ships it. He puts them in bags, and he ships it to his client base. And I think some of them he delivers to, and he just makes money that way. I mean, $4,000 a month, the guy pays his rent easy. He has more area to plant. So I'd say if you have area to plant, get it ready, use it as a garden, and then create a little business from it, It's farmer's market material, Plant potatoes, Some people plant pumpkins. I wouldn't plant pumpkins because it requires too much water. But just look for things that don't require a lot of maintenance. Herbs are not high maintenance, right? And herbs can be really good for you. So you just have to have a way of distributing it. And I think that was his problem. I think he said sometimes in certain areas some of the dirt got in it, so he has to wash them off. So there's maintenance and stuff that you want to do with it. But some people appreciate that,
Right. Oh, looks like your Roblox made the news.
What happened? I used to love that game. The little 8-year-old loved Roblox.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about Roblox. It actually made the news a couple days ago.
What about it?
What do you think? Good or bad? Uh-oh, you're Googling it now.
I am. I'm sorry. Okay. I'll go with my thinking. I think if it's something for you to share... Well, I got you on the 6 minute. I apologize on that one. I will say it's more good than bad. I don't know how Roblox can be all bad, just so you know.
No, this story is bad. Apparently, a 13-year-old girl has been found in Georgia after allegedly being kidnapped, held against her will, and raped by a man she met on Roblox.
Okay, you talk about the danger. I remember talking to the young ones. I used to babysit this other guy's name, Alexander. Great guy. He's now, I think, 10 or 11. I can't remember. I haven't seen him in a few years because of coronavirus. But he's the one that taught me Roblox. But I was like, because you could chat with anyone on there, but you have usually kids. Yeah. So like you and I could play it.
Chat with anyone? No. See,
that's the problem. That's where parents have to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling that's what happened. And how old was the young one?
She was 13.
Yeah, she's at the. That's the problem. It was probably another one pretending to be a teenager, and that's the problem. Guaranteed, Jesse. Guaranteed.
Right? That's my biggest fear of like these
Yeah.
younger kids. Like they always want to meet up. Like I remember when the internet was new and fresh, we used to use those Yahoo chats.
Yeah.
You remember that?
AOL chat room. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I would talk to tons of people, but I would never meet with any of them because I don't know them.
Yeah, this is the news, so everybody knows. And be careful with your children. Again, do watch this. Whenever you open up any type of chat to anybody, you got to educate your kids about what harm can come from it. So if this is one of them, use it. Police arrested Howard Graham after discovering he had convinced the girl, oh good, they got the guy, to leave her home in Kansas after just 2 days of speaking on the app, telling her he would pick her up. Captain John Ivey of the Clayton County Police Department told a press conference that Graham and the girl had met through Roblox February 18th. February 20th, she left her home in Topeka, Kansas, where Graham picked her up before driving her 900 miles to his home in Clayton County, Georgia. Police said they believe the young girl was subsequently sexually assaulted many times. As told by Captain Ivey, she sent a message to her mother through Roblox, thank God, sharing the address of a Dollar General store where she'd been taken. Following investigations, the police arrested Graham at his job on March 1st. The 33-year-old has been charged with sex trafficking, kidnapping, and rape. Captain Ivey said, we're truly lucky we found this young girl and she's alive. I wish people would pay more attention to what their kids are doing. Predators will go on and prey on little kids. And that's the reality. And that can happen on any platform, but you got to be careful. I remember being very mindful of that with the older one who could read. The younger one couldn't read, so I didn't say that to him, but still.
But it really is. This is be aware of what your children are on. I mean, I really didn't think of it as I was growing up because I was older during when the internet was being made.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really didn't have to worry. But these younger kids nowadays, no, worry because it's scary.
Yeah, especially if they read, let them know, be mindful of it, and have an account like this mother did. Very smart. And play with them. Play with them and then be mindful of that. All right, people, we're going to see you tomorrow. Same place, same channel. Make a great one. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. For the rest of you here, I know you're still here. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see, we've got Algenia says we need to have a greenhouse home at home. Or yeah, I think I know what you meant. Turn one bedroom into a greenhouse, literally. I wanted to turn a bedroom in. I would do the roof. And I know it's difficult in certain areas. I don't want to do it in the attic. This gets too much. But if you have like a area where it's like a flat roof, I would turn that into a garden thing, 100%, right? Just get some pots and plants, and then do not the floral kind, but ones that make sense. They get plenty of sunlight. You put them up there, and you spend some time up there, kind of navigating that. Go up every few days and plant some really interesting things. I saw a gardener plant potatoes. He just had huge bins. You don't even need that high. All you need is a foot high. Put a bunch of potatoes in and grow your potatoes for days. You could grow regular potatoes. Let's see, what other potatoes? I wouldn't say yams. I think they are way high in water maintenance. You just want to look for things that are low water maintenance vegetables. All right, and I talked about this a while back, but I think it's worth bringing it up. Because you're going to run up the bill on that, right? And you got to get the water up there and such. So there's a way to do it. Just run a hose up there and then spray it down. We're going to type up vegetables. Actually, let me do growing low maintenance vegetables. That's what you want, okay? And if you get and you want to turn it around for a profit, even better, right? You have your little side business to do that. You just have to package them, get ways to package them, and you can pay for your rent at the house. Yeah, even for your vehicle, right? Then go solar, then have something kind of feeding it itself. You have your own vegetables for days, right? You have that ability, you might as well, because the world is going weird in the next few months. Here's one, 13 low maintenance vegetables for a no hassle garden. Okay. Let's go through this. For those of you that hear the steam blower, or not the steam blower, they should blow steam. Wind blower, I apologize. It's outside, but all right. So these are a thing. Let me kind of bring this up here and show you. This is hobbyfarms.com, and it is a side business that people are doing. You don't have to grow a lot to put your hand at it. That's the interesting thing. But I've never seen these before. I don't know what these taste like, but evidently they're low in something. Here it is. It is Krosnies. Little tubers may look like maggots. They're not. But they're actually rhizomes from a plant related to mint. Like mint, these vegetables thrive in a moist location and spread rapidly. Although they are a little cumbersome to harvest and clean, the water chestnut flavor has made them a delicacy in French cuisine. Due to a lack of creativity, they've been dubbed Japanese artichokes. All of the perennial vegetables can be planted once and nearly forgotten, except to harvest and weed. Integrating perennials into your vegetable cultivation takes some of the pressure off some planting season, assuring you that you'll have something to harvest even if you're short on time. So they're very easy. I don't know how they taste, but I mean, if they're good for the French, or Japanese artichokes, I'm all for artichokes. I love artichokes. So I'd be open to that. Krosnies. So there you go. Sorrel and wood sorrel. This is good for salads. Some people describe the tart flavor of these plants as almost citrus-like. Sorrel is a common wild edible or weed, depending on how you see the world. So, who knew you're eating weeds? So they're delicious. The blade-like leaves are eaten fresh or pureed into soups and sauces. Wood sorrel looks kind of like clover. The delicate leaves are often used as a garnish or a flavorful addition to salads. Then they've got Randy Hoskin. The consumption of too much oxalic acid impedes calcium absorption, so these are not plants to eat fresh in large quantities. But as an herb, you can add a unique flavor to any meal. All right, they look like little clovers, but there you go. Then there's these tree collards and multi-year kales. I know a lot of you love kale. Kale doesn't actually require as much water as other plants, so that's the good news. The cabbage family is diverse between the conventional fare of Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and kale are some hybrid plants with distinct characteristics. A few will produce a crop for 3 or more years but don't come true from seed. As a result, these vegetables have been propagated and traded among gardeners. Then there's Fluffy Muppet, which looks odd but evidently is an interesting one. It's a collard known as a purple leaf tree collard. The collard grows into a tree-like form, living for more than 20 years if it receives the proper care. Other selections as vegetables, such as the forever cabbage and the English kale, will produce kale leaves for 3 or more years or even longer if prevented from bolting and grown in a cool, shaded spot in the garden. So that's wherever it doesn't get a lot of sun. You can put that right there and be good. Endives, known as chicory or radicchio, kind of like a radish, I believe, are a bitter green often found in Italian cuisine. You just got to know how to cook it. It looks like a cigar with a little smoke coming out, known as floral. The vegetables grow on a long, thick taproot that can be roasted and used to make a coffee substitute. A single plant will spread laterally and produce a yearly crop of seeds. There's laubage. That's a member of the carrot and parsley family. It produces the umbrella-like blossoms that nourish a variety of insects, especially beetles. Laubage is called Chinese celery because of a slightly more bittery, celery-like flavor. These are interesting. I want to plant these up on the roof at all because they kind of need more ground than not. They go very deep with roots. But artichokes and cardoons, okay? Artichokes are the better known crop of the thistles. The edible part is the immature flower bud. Left to bloom, an artichoke thistle will produce a gorgeous purple blossom and an abundance of seeds. The cardoon is the long forgotten Mediterranean cousin of the artichoke. Much higher in stature, the gigantic plants yield smaller edible flower buds, but are prized for their stalks, which are prepared like celery. Yeah, right? And you just have to prepare it. It looks like a flower, but now you know what artichokes look like, huh? Walking onions. Look at that. There's a goat. They're like meeting together in a little head version of stuff. They're like, can we get our heads together? Onions and garlic can be found growing wild around the world. Selections of local wild species, such as ramps, can make a garden more environmentally friendly while delivering distinct and unconventional onion and garlic flavors to the kitchen. I will say garlic is a really good one to prepare for you and your family, and it never goes out of season. It's one of the vegetables, which I know people don't really consider a vegetable, but is a really good one to have always around. That's number one. And number two, it's a great one to sell because you just sell your garlic herbs. I mean, so many ways to use that, but sell them whole. Don't granulate them because that takes more time and there's more of them to have to granulate. Kind of like an orange to orange juice. You get more out of an orange than you do orange juice. Yeah. Then there's this sunchokes. And sunchokes I've never actually heard of, but evidently it's a thing. They're edible tubers called Jerusalem artichokes. They're found at the bottom of a sunflower-like plant native to North America. The vegetables contain an indigestible starch called inulin, which makes them act like fiber in the diet. A single tuber can turn into several pounds of bellow ground food within a year, producing 6-foot-tall blossom-top stalks above the ground. Be careful when planting these perennials. They rapidly colonize an area and can be difficult to eradicate. So once you have them, you got to be committed to them. Again, if you put them in a basin and you keep them separated from all other areas, you'll be fine. That's the trick. So you don't put them in the ground. Does that make sense? And you can grow these in a basin of about 3 feet, just so you know. So you just get a basin, put a bunch of soil in there, and then you'll be fine for days. This one is the rhubarb. Yeah, again, ground. This is one that you would put in the ground, not in like a 3 basin, because they go pretty deep and stuff. But rhubarb is perennial edible among vegetables from a purely culinary perspective. People would classify it as a fruit, as the stalks are usually found in desserts or preserves. It's one of the first plants available for harvest in spring, and it produces gorgeous leaves. Now, I will say this. With the spring weather that we have here in California, I would say yes. But the spring weather that other areas are having in the U.S., I would say no. Wait till July, all right? Because that would be the smart time to start planting them. Right now, it's just too cold. Too cold. You can't even get the soil to do what you want to do with it because it's covered by snow. I know Stephanie knows what I'm talking about, but yeah, again, it's unusually unusual right now. This is not a spring here in the States that we would think. This one is asparagus. And asparagus, I'm not going to lie, I have been a fan in recent years, but I wasn't before. The planting of annual vegetables with asparagus is really good. It's one of the only perennial vegetable growing in a corner of the vegetable bed. It is tough, will power through your early spring forests. Its only sensitivity is to too much water. Who knew? So make sure you plant it in a soil that drains well. The unharvested spears grow into a fern-like foliage, and if a male as well as a female are present, these vegetables produce berries that contain the seeds to produce a new generation of plants. So you want something that keeps giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. That way you can get all natural, not have to depend on Monsanto seeds, which are going to expire after a certain amount of time anyway when you replant them, which, oddly enough, I don't really feel seeds should be harvested in this way and are made to be genetically modified. Now, herbs. I talked about herbs, and this is good to do and then, again, sell easily. I'm going to go here to this one. I think it's this one. 7 drought tolerant herbs for Southern California gardens. Okay, and trust me, the money to have to spend on water in some areas is actually not that big of a problem because everybody has water for days. It's called floods. So I feel there's got to be a way to start saving the water. But evidently, yeah, there isn't. What was that link? I'm not going to lie. I do not know. Oh, it's hobbyfarms.com. Go to hobbyfarms.com and you can check it out yourself. Hobbyfarms.com has a lot of good stuff there. And I think you go just to the search portion, you'll find a lot of good stuff there for you, Eugenia. Thank you for asking that question and information worth sharing, right? So there you go. Now, and herbs, though, here are some really good ones that you would want to try to grow. And some of them you may not even know as herbs, but they're good to have in your garden, okay? Any garden that has herbs most likely will have and be happier for it, okay? This is one of my favorite ones. This is known as number 7, oregano, all right? And this is on another website here, but there's oregano, okay? And oregano is good for so many things people don't even understand. If you look up oregano and what it's good for, you will be surprised at the different medicinal properties oregano is good for. Now, I will say when you liquefy it, it's better, but it requires more of it to have to liquefy, right? Which is usually what people do towards the end of the life of an herb, which is usually by fall and or winter. Then you liquefy it. Other than that, you use it just for everything else, right? And it has a good resale value too. It says here it's versatile, easy to grow. It can be used for ornamental, culinary, or medicinal purposes. Most folks grow oregano along with basil for flavoring pasta dishes, soups, and sauces. You can use it fresh or dried and can grow it in the ground in raised garden beds or in a container. That's what I'm kind of saying at the end of the day, which you want to be able to do, which is the best thing, right? Have it for years to come, right? And just, again, probably a foot. That's all you need of ground in a container. As an ornamental addition to your garden, it can be used in borders or containers around outdoor living areas to add color and deter pests. Traditionally, oregano has been used in folk medicine to create treatments for sore muscles, blood sugar regulation, relieving inflammation, and improving gut health. And there's so much more. The science has not been done fully on oregano that it should be. But if you include diabetes as a situation, if you include heart disease as a situation, if you include liver, if you include kidney function, there's things that oregano really is good for. So it's always good to have on hand no matter what. This one, echinacea, known for its use in herbal remedies to treat and prevent the flu and common cold, right? You probably have seen some pills that have this, and you go, what is that exactly, right? Is this something that we came up with? No. You'll find it at the drugstore, but it's often more available in capsules, extracts, tinctures, and teas. You can grow your own echinacea to dry and use in teas or home remedies. You can use it as it is a daisy family member. As an ornamental plant in your drought-tolerant landscaping. If you've seen this, now you know what it is. It's most common to see pink flowers, but you can find echinacea plants that bloom in white, orange, or red if it suits your landscaping design. And if you can't picture it right now, here it is for you to see. That's echinacea, right? And that's just what echinacea is. I didn't know myself until I saw this, not going to lie. Again, echinacea is good for a lot of things for the body, and it sells really well. You just kind of have to prove what it does to for people, and then they'll understand why they want to get it. Otherwise, it's kind of one of those where you go, "What's it good for? What?" You know, if you go to places, you kind of just don't know, right? So there you go. And then there's this one. I'm going to go through these because I don't want to bore you to death for people that are like, I do not know herbs, I don't care. There's feverfew. It's good for its medicinal uses. It's been used to treat ailments including toothaches, headaches, allergies, arthritis, fever, anemia, and the regular cold. It's known as a natural remedy for headaches and migraines. It can be used to craft homemade insect repellent brewed into a herbal tea, made into a tincture, or dried and placed in capsules for easier consumption. This one's actually good raw. It's better to have it raw. The body absorbs it better. and it's really good for, honestly, life. It's one of the few ones that is not given a lot of attention. Again, you have to educate people about it, but once you educate people, they're at least more aware of it than not. And then the last 4, thyme. We all know thyme, but we often don't know what it's good for. It's a drought-tolerant, low-growing ground cover. That's what you need. It can be walked on. This makes them a good choice for growing in turf stones, around stepping stones, and walkways or bordering paving stone patios and paths. Who knew that, right? If you want to grow thyme in your container garden or herb garden for use, choose a taller variety specifically intended for flavoring beans, potatoes, vegetable dishes, soups, stews, casseroles, and meat dishes. So basically, you can combine them around all this stuff. They're very floral. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know thyme looked like this, but it does. And there you go. That's thyme. Who knew, right? And they look like little daisies. They look like a weed, not going to lie. But if you know what it is, you're fine. Just tell your gardener, do not chop these up. Do not pull them. They're my thyme. Okay? I got time for thyme. There you go. And thyme is good for a lot of stuff. A lot of people don't really appreciate it as much. But it also deters mosquitoes. So that's good. And if you want to, let's see. And the leaves need to be bruised a little to release the repellent. If you want to use thyme as a mosquito deterrent, you might want to consider using it as a ground cover that will be walked on to bruise the leaves. So that's actually a thing in high mosquito areas. All right. This one's always good. Everybody, whenever they hear rosemary, they go, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, rosemary is good. And it certainly is. Rosemary is one that you are going to want to have on hand for anything. Rosemary has so many good uses for it. People don't understand how many good uses it is. Of course, it's known for its culinary, but its medicinal qualities are more than you know. It's an ideal choice for looking for an option that can use as a natural or well-groomed hedge. It can be used as a privacy screen grown in a container or used for topiary. Again, you can put it like in a foot-high soil. You may want to consider growing it as a low hedge around your vegetable garden to help keep slugs and snails away. Now, I will say snails are good for your garden. I would not want to keep snails away. But on the interior next to the wall, that's probably the best so they don't get inside. That's what you want to use. You could toss sprigs on the fire in your fire feature to help keep mosquitoes away, or harvest the rosemary to craft homemade mosquito repellent spray. Again, rosemary is never given what it needs to get, which is more concern. But if you see rosemary, it's a purple like flower that it sprouts. But it has a lot of uses for the body, more for the brain actually, and for the intestines actually. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's really good for certain intestine problems. So then number 2 on the list is sage. Sage is so good. I know people actually sage stuff, but yeah, you know, whether they do or don't, there you go. And then number 1 on the list is lavender. We all know lavender. We know what it smells like, but it's also for culinary too, such as flavoring dishes or making herbal teas. It can be used in an array of crafts and self-care products such as eye pillows, bath salts, aromatic sachets, and floral arrangements. But I will say, as far as the food part of it, I don't think people understand the food part of lavender, but they really kind of need to in order to understand how to make it the rest of the way. So, having said that, I'm going to show you something else that was really interesting, and it's called UV light for indoor gardens. A lot of people have either stumbled upon this info, or they have learned this info, honestly, like I have, on YouTube, all right? And the interesting thing is, there are some businesses really taking off with this. Granted, you have to have like a whole team to do stuff. And I would say invest in very cheap UV light if you're going to go that way. But do it and then have fun with it. And then you'll understand how to help yourself out. Okay? Because there is a business to this that, oddly enough, really works. And I'm looking at YouTube right now because I should have brought this up before I talked about it. There's a lot of do-it-yourselfers doing this. But let me see. In your grow room, is UV missing from your grow room? Okay. Let's see. UV light for indoor gardens. Well, I'll type in indoor gardens. Future. And let's see here. There's a lot of like different devices that will give you this. Some call it vertical farming. You know, I'm going to put that in. I'm going to put vertical farming. And this is something that I think if we do now, we'll be ahead of the food shortage. That's what I feel. All right. And I feel we need to do it quick, fast, and just quick. Okay. I'll bring up one of these. So I'm trying to bring up the right one so I don't skew it. Oh, here's one. I love this. $10,000 a month growing microgreens in a basement. Okay. Now I will say they're just using, I think, regular light. So I would enhance that. And this was posted 3 years ago. John Curtis Stone, as he tours micro acres, a $10,000 a month microgreen operation in Ardrey, Alberta, Canada. Okay, I'm going to bring this up so you guys can see it. I don't know if we're going to get skewed on this. Go follow them. Here it is, though. Arrow Garden. Go subscribe. All right. Urban Farmer Curtis Stone. Here's... Oh, actually, this is a ad. But these are devices that will help you grow your own herbs. Very simple. I'm not going to lie. I would use UV light. I would use either purple, green, and or red for UV light. But, you know, they sell them like this. You can have your own business selling products with just UV light and be okay. Because people don't understand UV light as much as possible. So this is called $10,000 a month growing microgreens in a basement. Now, look how outside it is cold, wintry, winter. And that right there is the problem, right? See, it's looks like it's in a different language. But according to this, let me scroll down because this guy's talking a lot. He discovers tips and insights that will help you start or scale your microgreens business to new profit levels. And they have a web class on this. Who knew? $20,000 per month if you want to get it. So this is the person's family house. As they go down, I'm watching this for the very first time, so I really don't know what's about to happen. They go down into the basement, or I guess you could do this in your garage, technically. And look at the couple here, which grow it in little small basins of not even, what, an inch high? $10,000 a month, that pays for the rent there. I guarantee you, they live in a home, they probably pay like maybe maximum $1,800. Shoot, man, I know this. I'm going to get some farmers now to do this. It pays for itself. You just have to have a distribution in place. So if you want to do this, I say do it, harvest it, sell it. Oh, look at that. They put it on layaway there. Who knew? You got to know a thing or two about these things, but it's even good for a hobbyist to do, right? I'm going to skip forward here. Let's skip forward to right about here. So he's showing the soil there. But look at that. I don't know how much time he puts into it or how much time she puts into it. But then you could resell it for days. How simple is that? You could take it to a farmer market, or you could just have a distribution list, put it in a package, send it out, and there you go. And look at the lights. Those are typical lights. But I guarantee if you use UV light, either purple, green, and or red, they will grow faster, grow better, and have more, due to the soil, of course, have more for your body. Because they got to be nutrition rich, right? And I think they grow in as little as 3 weeks. They're very fast. But you put this together, I guarantee you'll be happy. I think that's the right thing to do. I think this is what we need to do more of, right? I think so. Now I'm going to go ahead and that's proof in the pudding, right? But I'm going to put UV light for gardening. All right, I'm going to put that in. Let's see what we get there. And this is good research I did recently, and I said, wow, like, we could do this. Oh, and I love this. Look at this one. I think you can makeshift this one without paying $925, but if you can see that, it's like a little indoor one on a regular house. Oh, I like that, actually. That's a good idea. You don't even need a how should I click on this? I'm not selling this. I'm just saying there's a way to do it without paying this much. I think $925 is way too much. I don't know. It's LED sunlight, 3-tier garden. Okay. But even if you look at that, I want to pay $900 for that. I would do my own UV light, and I would do purple, green, and or red. And I should do like this little calculation of how much I can get away with this. I don't think you need $925 to do this. I think this is way overpriced. No, I don't want your free shipping. Although at $900, I would want free shipping. But it's a good idea, right? I mean, if it pays for itself in the first month, maybe. But I think there's a way to do it without that. I think you can get away for this for like $300 max. But you have your own little garden inside. I love this idea, especially if you like certain herbs. I know some people be like, forget it, I'll do it myself. But it's a fun little thing, right? All right, so let me bring this up here. I'm going to show you something that you may not know about UV light. I'll go to this one because it's pretty easy to look at. It has 1.4 million views. You can subscribe to them. This is their ad. Growing Answers. All right, that's the name of the YouTube channel. And white LED or white LED versus red, blue, white. Again, I would do red, blue, green. White is not really a thing anymore when it comes to UV light. Okay, and UV light is so inexpensive. Plus, it looks colorful. It looks beautiful as an accent. If you put like an area of the home with this, you'll be fine. Because herbs are very tolerant against other stuff. You just want to rinse them off before anything. So this is a time-lapse situation with lettuce. Oh, and they're showing the difference. There you go. This is my proof of what I'm saying. You have par 115 watts. You have par 130 watts. All right, and they're growing the same thing of lettuce. All right, it doesn't look all appetizing at first, but let's see what happens there. Red LEDs are less efficient, according to this. All right. I just see what they're saying. Well, maybe I'm wrong. But either way you slice it or dice it, I mean, they're both growing. The other one just looks kind of like, because it's not a white light. It looks in purple light, but it's still growing. Maybe the frequency's off. Well, they started one off at a low and didn't increase the other, so maybe that's the problem. I don't know. They need to switch it to white so it doesn't look like, it looks like poo right there. So turn to white so I can see it. But there you go. This is time-lapsed. But even then, it's still proof it's efficient, right? Look at that. How many days did he have this at? Let's see. Let's look back at this. I want to see the difference here. Because I think you have to put the power up on the UV, but it takes less. I know it looks gross, right? But, you know, it grows out really good. All right, those are the lights, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Let me read the description here. No aeration versus aeration. Okay. Okay, they're selling the brand, Roladaro. It's 115 watts at the wall. The purple light is 130 watts at the wall. It's a generic brand. Okay, so they have theirs against somebody else's. I get it. It's called a skewed thing. All right, but you know, it's a good test. Yeah, 130 watts compared to 115 watts. Okay, all right. I guess I get that. Plus, it's not as direct. I don't know. I have a situation with this. But I have a feeling it's kind of skewed. Let me skip forward to this. Okay, this is the one on his white light that they're selling. Yay. I know, it looks disgusting, huh? You're like, what is that? That's the roots, actually, I think. That's the stuff you don't see. And then, where's the other one? White LED, red, blue, white. Okay. See that? See, it's just as green. And I would say actually more nutritious. People don't understand. The darker they are, the more nutritious it is. So, yeah, they're definitely skewing. But it still grows in both. I think that's the important thing for you to acknowledge, that you don't need sunlight to grow these things. And that's where people kind of are skewed on stuff, right? Here's one here. Indoor grow lights. Okay, and this is a business I know that people are already thinking, wait a minute, I could do this myself. right? And I almost guarantee you, Stephanie, you can supplement all of your other income. I know you work out of your basement. I bet if you and your mom get together on this, I guarantee you'll make money. All right, because I know you have an entrepreneur mind, and if you do this, you don't need a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I almost want my mom to do this. I'm not gonna lie, because it's good for the food too. See, this lady kind of put her own little thing together, and she has indoor grow lights. Comparison, money versus money comparison, right? She says this year, it says you can't eat the grass. She has 113,000 subscribers. So follow her. She says this year I've been experimenting with some different grow lights to see which ones grow the best seedlings. I have a range of price points here, from free old fluorescent shop lights. I wouldn't use those, by the way. Those aren't good for plants. To T5 LED light bars, to a Mars Hydro full spectrum LED light bar. I was shocked to discover how much fast the seedlings grew with the increased light supplied by the better light options, and how different the light meter readings were from light to light. I know some people are like, yeah, but what about electricity? You offset it with selling them. That's how you offset it. And then she has her little thing of like links on what to click on. I would still go UV. All right, they're very inexpensive. You can get them from China for very cheap right now, and you can actually make a really good case for food, for replanting, and then for selling. You just have to package it. Just choose a really good package. Go buy those on eBay and or Amazon, and then just rinse them off, clean them out, and then sell them under your own little name. You don't need a lot. You could probably generate a profit here. She's probably making anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 a month. Having what's I want to call a vertical garden. This is just a vertical way to put them on top of one another, and you don't need to put them in the ground. I need to show this to Jesse. I guarantee you his mother would be all over this. So there you go. I'm going to show you the business, though, of vertical gardening, okay, because that's really what I came here for. But I'm just saying, the nation needs to invest in this, and I think entrepreneurs need to invest in this in the next few months to be ahead of what is happening with our global shift in the next few years. And I'm going to click on this one. I think this is going to bring several ones that I've looked at in the past few days. And this is just beautiful. I would want this in a warehouse, okay? This is called Next Gen Farming Without Soil. This is, again, USA Today Live. They actually did this news story. And you'll see that in a warehouse, it's actually really good to do. It looks beautiful. They look like little trees. You put them in like this. You have the irrigation on the inside. This is the CEO of True Garden. And he has a business just doing this. They already have a supply to the distributor. The distributor distributes it in Whole Foods, I believe. If they created their own, they'd have to invest in, marketing that and making sure people knew it was more natural than not. Because it's indoors, you don't have to have problems with insects. You can actually kind of navigate that from inside. It has the right amount of temperature in there. But you take an empty warehouse that we're going to see a lot of in the next few years, and you fill it with these, what they call next-gen farming, but I'll call vertical gardens. These are true vertical gardens. Plenty of light above, but you can actually put UV light as well on the inside, even if it's got no, upper area. And you can do it 24/7. That way you don't depend on the sunlight as you do it. And you can grow it faster. You just kind of find the right mode for each and every plant. You do that, you'll be ahead of the problem that we're having ahead, which is less food for days because of certain areas that just are not climate controlled. You can climate control this. You can even section this off. I see this being like a part of the business of anybody that has warehouse space, which they're not using because they had to, either downsize because of cost, because everything's skyrocketing. But as long as you maintain it, I love these basins, the way they've done it. 90% less water. That right there is a huge benefit. I want him to make these for residential. I need this in my residential, you know? And I guarantee the air smells great in there. Right? And I'm going to click over here to Vertical Farms could take over the world. All right. This is by Freethink. And this is more of what I'm saying. We really got to get our minds around of doing because it's already here. All right. Let's get past Lamy Composter, but that's a thing. You put them in, boom, it composts for you. That's pretty good, actually. That's how you get rid of waste and not have problems with it. This is the one I was watching. This one is really good. You got to subscribe to Freethink. Freethink has a lot of information. Here's Wyoming, okay, which guaranteed the area inside. They invested a lot of money. I want to say about $3 million, okay? And you and I don't have $3 million, right? But if you resell it in the right way, you'll have probably recouped your costs within about anywhere from about a year to 3 years. All right. But this is like high industrial stuff. There's a way to downscale it and grow it as you go. But this is something to enhance and then grow to and then get there. And see, they were saying because of all the problems on the outside of our Earth. And this was published in May 22nd of 2021, by the way. All right. With the wildfire situation, with the drought, with everything that you've been having. This is the guy. This is the video I wanted to show you. This is the one I should show on our station at some point, and or maybe have them on. Of course, they have machinery do everything for them, but they've been able to honestly, I think they've been in business about anywhere from 8 to 12 years, I want to say. But they invested early. All right. Now there are farms which honestly want to go next level with this. Because you're going to need to control the environment that these things are growing in. So I guarantee in the next 3 years, he's going to have 100% profit because it only keeps paying itself. This is in warehouse space. And there's a lot of warehouse space available and up for grabs right now that if you say, look, vertical farming is where it's at. I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to invest in this. A, you feed your family for years to come. And B, you feed the rest of, well, your neighborhood at least, right? I say you probably can get it down to probably about a good 300 to 400,000 investment. Start off small, do it right, learn from the others, get UV light. He uses UV light, by the way, in different variants of it, depending on the vegetables. And he has a really smart team with himself. But he could scale this in any area where real estate is cheap and businesses are inexpensive. He has the line of people, see that, and they put them in there, and then they research them, and they say, okay, this grew this much. So they are constantly researching and developing. I always say it starts with the soil. So you got to get good soil to begin with. You get good soil, you put it indoors, the soil will feed it for years to come. All right. There's ways to make soil always good. But the soil is what gives the nutrients to the plant to be able to grow. UV light is the next stage of the evolution of growing things that will help it along, and you will not have to worry about outside. Then you combine it with solar on the outside. You provide power from natural light and or UV light. There's a way to do that to feed to the solar panels. And you'll have energy for years and years and years and years and years. You don't even have to depend on power plants. We're at the day and age where we have too many power plants, but not enough solar farms to compensate. And it doesn't require a lot of solar farms to compensate for a power plant, what a power plant produces. Honestly, I would say a power plant can be replaced with a solar farm. You just need about a good, anywhere from minimum 8 to 12 acres of solar farm land to replace about a third of what a nuclear plant produces. So if you have a lot of farm town and you're not doing anything with it, solar. Invest in cheap, upgrade it as you sell it, because everybody's using electricity in a big way when it comes to electric vehicles. Just nobody has done the math yet. So we need more ways to produce power, but we need to produce stuff that will feed us for generations to come, because the shift weather system that's been happening is so bad, it's creating problems for us for the rest of the years to come. Now you see this one they do in vertical areas. They use the light and it's vertically at the garden. But once you plant it, you're done. See, it says reflecting on the past, LED fixtures, fall. They're hugely inexpensive right now. I say get it while they're inexpensive. And they're highly efficient. It says why you should switch to LED lights, right? But I say do it to the gardening, and you'll see they go with different colors there. And it's very vibrant. Maybe the other one's too close. I don't know. Maybe that's what they did. But this one is making a lot of money doing it this way. And they sift the soil, by the way, and clean it out from any impurities. So that's a whole other thing that they're doing. But look at that, all natural. How many restaurants would like really good natural salad? And see, and then they resell it like that. Who knew? That's their brand. Plenty. Baby kale. You just brand it, do a little bit of that, but they took the science to it, so they feed employees. They make money for the employees, maintaining it. It is a way to put people to work. Indoor farms. Say they're growing garlic and beans and other things, not just fruit, not just vegetables. Makes it good for other stuff. Oh, I could go for this dish right now. Just give it to me. Pasta with any type of herb is delicious. All right. Better, see, easier to navigate. They're talking about the bugs outdoors. Yep. You see the problems that could happen that they're alleviating 100%? That's what I'm talking about. You invest in people, in stuff like this, you'll be better for it. And see, they don't have to spray them down because it's a controlled environment. We have the ability to do this. We're going to have a lot of empty warehouse space because all of them are being emptied as you drive down the freeway. You're starting to see areas which are just not going to sell because they have no business to farm in there. All right? I'll set this up, but, that's an ad, whatever. So, yes, stop wasting money, seriously. But my point is this. We have the ability to build a better tomorrow investing in things like this that makes sense. You could do it locally. You could do it evidently in your basement, on your roof, in your garden, in your house. You just apportion an area, put some LED lights, you're good for days, right? And you have a sustainable method of making some money while feeding yourself as well. I think if you invest in that and say, okay, I could package it, put in a little package, get that package. It's no different than gift wrapping, okay? It just takes a little bit of rinse off, that's called water, put in a package, and have a mailing list of every month new herbs to your door. Simple, easy, breezy. Covers the shipping because herbs are expensive out there. If you go shopping to Whole Foods, Vons, and other places, you'll see that herbs are actually a very expensive form of paying for, right? But you don't think of it like that because you only get a little bit at a time. But you distribute it, start around your neighborhood. Say, hey, fresh herbs for sale. Start in a farmer's market. But I would do first your neighborhood. Do your neighborhood. Just case it. And when you get more than enough, when you start scaling it, if you do, some people are going to be fine just paying the rent. You can pay the rent and then some. I would imagine this would be a good little experiment for my mom. I'm not gonna lie, she is a green thumb woman. To get a little vertical space, grow a certain amount, and see if it pays down the rent and then some. Wouldn't that be interesting? Who would prevent that from happening, right? Live as a bachelor or bachelorette. Try doing that yourself. It's very low maintenance. You just have to get it started. Once you get started, probably like a good 8 hours of work, and then you leave it for a good month, maybe 3 weeks. Have the UV light growing it. Then you harvest it. Probably takes about 3-4 hours. Get a friend to help you. Makes good for a good date. 3 to 6 hours, right? See if they like. Or you say, hey, I'm going to pay you a little bit of money because we're going to resell this stuff. And then, get the children involved. Shoot. And then 3 to 6 hours of harvesting it. And then, rinsing them off, bundling them in little plastic things, and then putting your own little self-made sticker, put it on there, ship it out, boom. All you need is a base of about 30 customers. 30 to 50 customers, even 30 to 60 if you want to start it that way. But I would start with 30 customers, start with friends, and say, hey, I'm selling herbs. Which herb is your favorite? And then get a list. Say, well, I'm selling herbs. I grow them in a very natural way. If you would like me to ship some to you, it's only $8 for, a certain amount, whatever you figure or deem that to be, right? $8. Start with $8, and you'll be ahead of it, okay? And everybody wants more natural. And you say, hey, to those that are naysayers, well, I kind of go to shopping, or like, well, that sounds good, but I don't know. Then you say, all right, that's fine. Then you say, okay, well, if you want to try it, I'll send you a sample. And if you like it, you can get on my distribution list. How about that? So you leave that as an opening at the end. And they say, oh, because who's going to say no to that, right? And then you just do a third of what you would package it to be. Say, hey, for your next meal, and then include a recipe that they can use. Whether they use a recipe or not, it doesn't matter. But go with the ladies, right? The ladies that have families, okay? The ladies that have families, go with them first. Don't go with the men. The men are dumb when it comes to cooking, and dumb only when they want to impress a lady do they all of a sudden know how to cook, all right? Majority, right? Let's face it. But go with the ladies that have families, because they have to feed their families for days to come, because they're going to want to eat indoors. They're not going to go spend the money outside. Recently, not going to lie, I was really upset. I got Pizza Hut. We paid $36 for a large pizza. And I said, you're kidding me. The pizza wasn't even that good. And I was like, $36? Like, how much is this? And I paid $5 for tip. So $40. I know my mom's listening. She's like, yeah, I don't want to do that again. But my point is this. There's Chinese food places that deliver. There's Thai food places that deliver. There are places that deliver. But why is the money going up so much? Who are you paying for at the end of the day? A pizza probably takes anywhere from $3 to $4 just to bake. It only takes time, preparation, and meal. You could probably get away by $5. That's why Caesars is probably ahead of it, because they're like $5 pizza. I don't like their pizza. I don't like the ingredients they use. They use very cheap ingredients. But I would say probably I'll go to Domino's next. I think they have a 2 for that price, which seriously makes more sense. And my favorite place is Rio's Pizza, which on Sundays is like $23, which, again, best pizza around. Huge plug for them. They're in Montebello. If you haven't been there, go check it out. But that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Invest in a herb garden on the inside, in a basement, in a garage. I think you need to irrigate it better. It's not the irrigation. It's just the dampiness of it. But in a spot where you have good cooling, that's probably better for you. That way it doesn't smell moldy, because garages can get a little moldy. But if you can have it set up with your HVAC person, so it's kind of like a self-contained garage where you have air being pumped into it. So it's, cool, and it's a nice temperature of about, I think a good temperature in a garage would be like 80. But because they don't have good insulation, sometimes it gets a little too hot or too cold, and it just gets kind of weird. But in that basement situation, they have, air conditioning, so, they just funnel into the basement. So 80 degrees is pretty good for that area. You don't really want it that much harder. You don't want it that much colder for it to grow in a good way. So that's my only recommendation. If you're going to do a garage, make sure it's environmental control. Then you'll be fine. But easy way to start making some cash. Very little investment. And even if you don't want to do that, you're going to at least have good herbs for yourself. And like I say, when you do the research on the medicine parts and you have certain conditions, you go, you know what, it's good for me, So try it out. Or don't. It's an idea. Get your mind to thinking, how can I save the earth and how can I profit from it at the same time? You do that, man, you'll be ahead. You'll be talking to the government leaders saying, if I can do it, you can do it. So there you go. All right, people, make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. And do check out those YouTubers. They're awesome. They'll really make you think of the world in a different way. We are not dumb to have food shortages by doing these things ahead of time. All right? Even you for yourself. Make it a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.